throw your arms across your eyes and scream, man. Scream for your life.
Hello, everyone. I am Bill Worcester, a.k.a. Zazubaar, and this is day 6 of the Week of Kong? No, day 5, right? It's day 5 of the Week of Kong, I think.
Yeah.
What day of the Week of Kong is it?
I mean, we only have 2 more things after this.
Well, right, but one of the days is more than one thing, so that's why I got confused.
Right, but yeah, I suppose that today is day 5. Math, everybody.
Yeah, no, it is day 5 of the Week of Kong. See, as I think we've established, we are recording these out of order. We recorded this about 2 weeks before these go up. And
we didn't actually record them out of order. We just recorded them ahead of time. We were going to have to record.
Did I say out of order? I meant ahead of time. Sorry.
We thought we were going to have to record out of order, but then things worked out in our favor. So
that's why I said that then, because this film we actually recorded quite a bit of the commentary on a couple of days ago, but because of the way we were watching it, it just didn't sync up right, and it got so bad that we were just like, this is not going to work. So I actually ordered a physical copy of the film on the spot, and now I have it, and we are going to do it again tonight. And it should be great.
Yes.
The movie's not going to be great, but the commentary should be great. Hopefully. So yeah.
That remains seen, I suppose.
Yes, indeed. So, Dean?
I feel bad, too, because the last time we did this, we actually did some reading up on the subject beforehand.
Oh, I remember everything. I hope you do.
I remember most of it, I think.
I remember, 2 things.
I remember that it's a movie, and that
I
it's
remember
called
the movies, and I remember the actors in it. And I don't remember all the actors' names. I remember, I only know one of them, I think. I just know Linda Hamilton. I know that Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange appear in stock footage. That's something I know.
Indeed. I could have taken the fact that this episode was delayed by nearly a week, recording-wise, to finish reading up on the subject. I, of course, did not do that.
No, why would you do that?
So instead, we're gonna go into this commentary and try to remember as much of that shit as we possibly can.
Oh, so, should be delightful. I can't wait. I just gotta get my setup a little better, and we'll be good to go. So I hope you use this time as always to get your copy of the film out if you're gonna watch it physically or however the hell you're gonna watch it. We don't judge. And gotten it to 000 so that way you can watch it with us. Because as we always say, this experience is really worthwhile if you watch the film with us. You get a different perspective on it. It's a different way of watching it. You'll have a different appreciation for it, better or worse. So watch the movie with us, kids. That's what really makes this series work.
This is something I probably should have mentioned all the way back on day 1 of the Week of Kong. But we re-record these. We're watching these movies, at least the ones that we have physical copies of, on VLC. Media player, which is great because it gives you a lot more control over how you watch the movie. However, there is always, when we push play, when we say play, there is always a small half-second to maybe 2-second delay. So be aware of that as you're listening along and trying to be in sync with us.
Yeah, and listen, if you get a couple seconds off, it's not the end of the world. I watched King Kong vs. Godzilla along with this a couple days ago, along with our commentary, because I hadn't done that yet. I hadn't tested it to see how it worked out. And I did fall out of sync a few times, but it ultimately works out really well. Because when I got it to work, and I got it to work for most of it. It was pretty glorious. Because it's uncanny to see it playing and then to hear yourself. Because what I did was I was listening to the commentary on my phone and I was watching the movie on my TV. And to hear that line up was pretty uncanny. It was pretty cool. So I hope that people are experiencing that along with us.
There's also issues where, because of the fact that me and Bill are hundreds of miles away from each other at this moment, there are also moments where we get out of sync with each other, and then we have to fix that, and then he has to try and edit around it. So there is always possibility that something might not line up quite right.
Now, we may discuss how lazy I am on all of our podcasts and everything, but I do genuinely try to make these things as fucking listenable as possible. and so when I edit them, I do try to make the time line up as best as I can based on what I hear. But that's all I have. Because even if I had the movie, it's harder to I still can't guarantee that I'm lining up with everybody listening. So I just try to account for as many people as I can, and try to make it work as best as I can. So I hope that it works out as best as I hope it works out as well as it can. So anyway, we've done a lot of preamble, and we haven't really talked about the movie itself much. Partially because we already kind of talked a lot about it in that original commentary, but we're going to try and not mention that. We're going to try not to refer back to it too much. We're just going to try to react to it as it goes. So maybe too much preamble would hinder that. But basic stuff that we always cover. D, what is your opinion of King Kong Lives going into it this time?
Same as always. I think it's a pretty flawed movie. However, I don't hate it as much as most people do. I think it's just okay. You know what I mean? If anything, it's a bit overlong, and that's probably the biggest problem. Because everything else that it quote unquote does wrong, I find pretty forgivable. But the fact that it's as long as it is makes that a little difficult. It kind of gets a little draggy, especially in the middle. But overall, I think there's some really interesting ideas in here. So yeah, I enjoy it to a degree.
It's a guilty pleasure, ain't it? It's got a lot of good ideas in it. It's got it's got some cool ass special effects. It's a King Kong movie. And it's a King Kong movie where it's not him like lusting after a girl. Well, I mean, actually, it is. That's not true. But it's a movie where we see him wreck some shit, don't we? He fights the military more kind of head on than we've ever seen him in a previous film, and it looks pretty cool most of the time. It's the issue that you brought up though of it being overlong. Definitely, pacing wise, this is a fucking disaster. And more than that, the characters definitely are elevated by the actors' performances most of the time, and when they're not, it's absolutely terrible. And even the actors who elevate their performances, the characters themselves still don't really stick out that much as anything that memorable, and most of the time they're kind of unpleasant because they're all like these very hyper exaggerated representations of 80s individuals. Because that's when this movie is set. This is 10 years after 76. We'll see that in a title card, and it's the American culture 10 years after King Kong 76, 10 years into the 80s. Not 10 years into the 80s, 6 years into the 80s, but 10 years after again 76 came out. But I'm rambling now. So there's a lot of good shit in here, but it is a fucking mess.
Certainly.
So let's get fucking into it. All right. I am going to press play in. Hang on, where's my mouse? There it is. All right, I'm going to press play.
Probably find that first.
Yeah, I got it. All right, I'm going to press play in 3, 2, 1. Play.
Okay, slight VLC delay going on.
As
now I'm looking at the logo.
Yep.
For, is this the DEG logo?
Studio Canal.
No, yeah, this is the Studio Canal logo. I think these are the people that put the DVD together.
Oh. So if you're not watching the DVD, it might be a problem that you didn't see that. Now we're looking at the Dino De Laurentiis logo, though, which is how all versions of this start. This is how the VHS I had when I was a kid opened.
Yes. Those of you unfamiliar with DEG, because obviously it's no longer a thing, that was Dino De Laurentiis' own production company.
Siren blaring.
Also famous for, in the very same year as this came out, I believe, the Transformers movie, one of which became a cult classic that is now beloved. The other of which is mostly forgotten. You can guess which one is which.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So we're opening on stock footage of 76 right now.
How do you feel about that?
It's fine, you know. This is, of course,
it's fine. It's not great though, right? It's because it kind of makes the rest of this so much worse, doesn't it?
Somewhat, yeah, but I can kind of understand why they did it. It had been 10 years since the movie came out. I guess they
Yeah.
wanted to refresh audiences on what had happened.
They
You gotta
wanted
remember,
to remind people that this was a sequel to a movie that actually existed and made money and people liked, kinda.
yeah, yeah. Well, you got to remember that this is, of course, made during an era where home video is is
It is what it
either
is,
not a
yeah.
thing, either not a thing or less common, and I'm not exactly sure what year home video became a thing, but
Early,
but yeah,
like late 70s, early 80s. Like late 70s, you get Betamax and shit, I guess. Laserdisc and everything.
so a lot of people have no way of re-seeing Kong 76 after it ends its theatrical run, and it's sort of not exactly common practice, but not unheard of to open your sequel with stock footage, especially if it's been many years in between. Now,
Name another one that's done it that you can recall off the top of your head. I'll do one for you. How about this? Godzilla 84. That's in the opening credits, though, and I think that that's a little more acceptable. A lot of Godzilla movies do that. I feel like this should be the opening credits, not what we're going to see next, because what we're going to see next is really drawn out. If it's not, but even though it is also kind of cool.
yeah, well, Godzilla done that more than once. The opening credits to Terror of Mechagodzilla is, of course, the refinery scene from the previous movie, and they have even less of a reason to do it because it's only been 1 year.
God damn, this scene, again, it's so good. It reminds me of why I really like 76. And again, it kind of makes this so much worse. See, this really should have been the opening of the movie. It should have been like Ghostbusters 2, where like we all saw it, the first one. So this is just 10 years later. Like Ghostbusters 2 is 5 years later. Like that's what this should have been.
Yeah. The credits are now telling us that this is a John Willerman film, the same guy who directed the first movie. So
interesting as fuck, because it doesn't feel that way to me.
No, I always assumed that it was a different director until I looked into it and realized that it was the same guy. It's perhaps fitting for the purpose of this commentary, though, that the movie opened on stock footage of 76, because, of course, the story of the production begins when the first movie came out and was a resounding success, both financially and critically for the most part. And so Dino De Laurentiis, immediately after the movie came out, knew that he wanted to do a sequel. So that opens the question, why the fuck did they wait 10 years? Well, from what we read, it seems like he sort of put it on the back burner. He was working on other projects at the time, and apparently he could never find a writer to come up with a quote-unquote believable way to resurrect Kong. Now, it just so happened in the early 80s that he was working with a screenwriter whose name I've forgotten because it's been so long since we actually did this reading. But he was working with a screenwriter on a script for Total Recall.
Right, which they sold the rights to, and then they started making this, right?
Yeah, well, they never wound up making Total Recall because DEG went through some financial troubles, and they wound up having to sell the rights to some of their projects, and Total Recall is one of the things that they sold.
They didn't sell the King Kong sequel, though.
No.
Which they probably could have made some money with, because fucking Universal was biting at the chop to make biting at the, whatever the fucking expression is, biting at the bit, whatever.
Yeah, they really wanted to make a Kong movie.
Yeah, they really wanted to make a King Kong movie, is what I'm trying to say.
As we discussed in the previous commentary. Anyway, De Laurentiis really enjoyed working with the screenwriter, and he told him that if he could come up with a good way to resurrect Kong, that he would let him write the script. Now, around the same time, the artificial heart was invented by, go Google whatever the fuck that doctor's name was, and so that was the inspiration. They would bring King Kong back through the use of an artificial heart and using machinery to keep him alive for the 10 years in between. This is, of course, maybe not believable, but believable enough within the sci-fi sort of what's the word I'm looking for, context of the film. De Laurentiis enjoyed the idea, and then we were off to the races. And so 10 years later, we finally get a King Kong 76 sequel.
And here's the thing. I always thought that this movie was a desperate financial move on De Laurentiis' part, but all this research we did leading up to it doesn't really seem to be the case. Yeah,
they allotted it a pretty big budget starting out, but again, the studio went through some financial problems, and the budget wound up being kind of cut a little bit. But I mean, they allotted it like $22 million.
But when they went into production, yeah, it was a big budget movie. It was just as big as the first one, right? Or at least pretty close.
Well, the first one also had other budgetary issues, if you'll remember. Um,
Oh,
it
right,
started
that's right.
obviously this had the benefit of being a sequel to an already successful movie, so I think they felt more comfortable allotting it a big budget from the start. Whereas Kong 76, they went into it with less budget than they probably should have, and it wound up getting pushed higher and higher as production went on. They were lucky that it wound up being such a huge success um,
Right.
to that effect. This, on the other hand, decent budget,
Mm.
flopped spectacularly and was critically panned, um, largely forgotten um, until I think it became more of a little bit of a cult classic once the internet got around and people could be reminded that it was a thing. Also, I've seen it get TV play occasionally. Um,
It's one of those King Kong movies that it's easy to get the rights to play on TV and a release. So
yeah,
it's one that I think is endured in that way, but it's one that nobody really remembers specifically because it's so long and so just drawn out into nothing. But it's got some really bizarre moments that I think the internet has really latched onto to give it some shelf life. So one thing I wanted to mention here is that we've got our fucking Indiana Jones-esque fucking adventurer.
yes, this is our Jessica Lange for the movie.
Right, because we have... See, I said that Kong isn't lusting after a girl. He is. We're about to meet her. But his girl is also lusting after a human character, which gives us that element that's always essential in a King Kong film. And there she is, Lady Kong.
Yes.
What do you think of this element? Because I always kind of thought it broke this movie in terms of how they play it. I don't know if that's going to be the case now. I don't really care maybe enough about it for that to be enough to kill it. But we'll see. So we'll see what happens. But
I like Lady Kong a lot. I think she's actually the best suit in this movie. I think the face looks
interesting.
better.
You know what? Looking at her now, I think you're right.
Yeah, like the suit, the face on it looks more like the 76 Kong than the actual King Kong suit in this movie does. For those of you who don't know, Rick Baker, not involved in this film. So
And it's
the other guy...
apparent when you look at Kong. Like, we had a shot of him earlier where he was laying down, and I was like, ooh. It doesn't look bad. It just looks worse than the first one.
Which, by the way, there weren't just suits in this movie. They also had like full-scale models of the monsters. So I'm sure that the Kong that was just laying down was probably the model.
And I mean, overall, would you have to agree that the compositing is better?
Yeah, I think it definitely benefits from 10 years worth of visual effects advancement.
Right, like that composite right there is pretty good.
The one thing that I think about Lady Kong that maybe detracts from her design a little bit is I don't know that we needed the gigantic titties.
Yeah, well, I mean that's really fucking. It's not exploitative. She's a fucking monkey, but it's very it's a little
distracting.
on the nose. It's a little on the nose, and I don't know if it's distracting. They're not big. They're obviously tits. I mean, Kong's got a very brazen chest too, so I guess it makes sense. But it's it's a choice. They made a choice, and I think it's a choice that definitely makes an impact on the film.
They're also like super droopy. So
yeah, I mean that was another choice. So what is this Institute's deal? Why do they have Kong? Why do they want him alive so badly?
I don't.
Because here's the thing: something like Kong, it's kind of worth more dead than alive. Like imagine performing the autopsy on King Kong.
Mm-hmm. Well, this way, I'm sure they've probably already done like tons of looking at him through like X-rays and stuff. They probably
but when you have to keep him alive, you're super limited to how in depth you can get. When he's dead, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, he's a big primate. Like, they don't really have to do an autopsy. They pretty much have an idea of how he works because he's a primate. I mean, you look at any other primate for comparison.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not a known primate, though. I mean, they're always pretty clear in most versions about the fact that he's he's not a big gorilla. He's an unknown species of primate that's just gigantic.
True. What I'm saying is the basic anatomical workings of him can't be that different.
You're going to be visiting my ape at Disneyland. That's awesome.
Probably not that different from a regular primate. Now, I would be interested to know if there's like some pseudoscience into how he's able to survive being as fucking big as he is, but they don't really go into that.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because actually there is a line in this later where fucking guy on the right, fucking really milk-soppy looking dude. Oh, there's Linda Hamilton. Oh, this is fucking right after Terminator, 80s. Oh, so hot. Oh, yeah, my God.
Post-Terminator 1, pre-Terminator 2. The Hamilton.
This is... Okay. The
Did you
plane's
get a
skittering over to the side, yeah.
Did you get a VLC delay, a small one?
Not really. I'm at sorry for audience, this is going to be really boring. I'm at 7, 8, 9.
Okay, we're in
Okay,
sync.
cool.
That's cool.
I like that we're finally bringing a Kong somewhere by plane. That makes the most sense of any fucking means. Like,
Yeah, really. Yeah.
if the Kong is small enough, like, how big do you think the Kongs in this? In this one, they've got to be bigger than in the original. Maybe not.
Maybe a little bigger than the original, but I think they look smaller than they did even in '76. Maybe that's just because they walk around hunched over in this movie instead of being upright.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like Kong was.
Kong looks bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's just because we have scale with the Lady Kong.
That's like one of my favorite lines in this entire movie. The reporter's like, "Are you going to breed her?" And he's like, "You mean personally?"
Yeah, that's great. See, I don't hate him. He's kind of likable. He's Indiana Jones, but he's modern. Sorry, we were watching the movie.
So the plot here is they need the blood from the Lady Kong to transfuse, I guess, into Big Kong.
That's the idea. So in order to perform the heart transplant, that was the plot point that we talked over earlier. That's a really good shot with the feet moving. Ooh, that looks awesome. But what we talked over earlier was she said that she cannot perform surgery because Kong's blood is just fucked up and will not work. And if she cuts him open, he will die. So He needs a blood transfusion, and no animal on the planet will be able to do it. Now they have a miraculously Lady Kong. Miracle.
Makes sense. He's been in like a coma for 10 years, and his blood's been like having to be filtered by machines and pumped back into his body, and it makes sense that they would need some fresh blood to work with. Hope they're a match in terms of blood type.
Yeah, that would suck, right? Maybe that's why he dies. No, I mean he dies because he gets shot up by the military. But
now, as we've already discussed a little bit, the Kong design in this movie is a bit different from in the last movie. The Kongs in this movie walk a little bit more hunched over. Also, his fur is more jet black than it was in the previous movie. It was made using some different techniques. They used entire
the big Kong looks good. That's pretty cool.
They used entire swatches of fur and put on the suit rather than individually placing the hairs.
It's really obvious in like a close up like we just had, where it's like really, where he's like his face is moving around and shit.
Yeah, the worst part about it though is the face. I think they really messed up the face this time around. There's just something wrong with it. You know what I mean?
It's just different than '76, and it doesn't look as good.
I think it's too elongated. You know, I think the nose is too far away from the eyes.
There's some really good shots in this laboratory, like panning across with the big Kong under the under the walkways and shit. This is a really cool idea and set. I really like this idea of just like this big sci-fi experiment on Kong after he's fallen off the building. Don't you think this is just cool? Like we've never seen anything like this. Like just like what if Kong did sure. He traumatically fell off the building and it would fuck him up and he would probably die. But what if they actually saved him?
Mm-hmm.
And they kept him alive somehow for 10 years, like on like respirators and shit. Like that's fascinating. And it's not too far off.
I really like this surgery scene.
Yeah, it's awesome. Look at all these shots, man. This is fucking cool shit. Like we've never seen anything like this in a monster movie before.
They go into a lot of detail about how the surgery has to be performed. I like that they have to have like fucking 10 to 15, it looks like, doctors up on the platform at once. When they start operating, they have these like comically large versions of surgery tools.
Look at the giant viewing room. Like, yeah, it's great. Like, it's awesome. Like, yeah, they're going to bring this huge crane over to fucking put the heart in.
It's also surprisingly graphic. Like, there's tons of blood and shit.
Oh, yeah. This fucked me up when I was a kid.
I mean, look at this. This is the dentist's office from hell.
I actually had to stop eating soup for a while. This is gonna be a dumb story. I actually just stopped eating soup for a while after I saw this movie at one point. There's a real reason I stopped, but this is the reason I thought of at the time, I mean. Because I was watching this movie eating soup, and there was the scene where Kong eats the people later in the movie. You remember that scene? Well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's gross. Especially the scene where he picks his teeth. Like, that's disgusting. And I was like, ugh. And so I stopped eating soup. Later, I realized I was watching the movie. But you know what else? The reason I was watching the movie, because I was homesick. I was really, really sick. And you ever get like a really bad head cold or a stomach virus and you eat something and you're just like, oh, this is gross. Because you're sick. Your taste buds are fucked up. Your head's fucked up.
Right. Yeah. Well, a lot of times when I'm sick, I can't even taste my food. And at that point, it just becomes like a horrifying experience.
Yeah. So, I mean, so oftentimes I'll eat something while I'm sick and be like, oh, I'm not going to eat that for a while because it ruined it for me.
Because just feeling food without having the taste is not a pleasant experience. It's just weird. But yeah, this surgery scene is probably the best scene in the movie. It's very well shot. It's
and
captivating.
That's why we're talking about being sick while looking at the pretty imagery.
Yes.
And by pretty, we mean like interesting. Like, it's graphic as fuck, and that's what's cool about it. This reminds me a lot of like, you ever see those videos of like there was like this fucking scientist in the 1970s who performed like fucking surgery on chimps. Like, he cut their heads off and put them on different bodies, and they survived for like 10 minutes. Like, it's crazy. Like, that's what this reminds me of. Not nearly as graphic, but just the fact that it even touches that is astounding for a mainstream King Kong film.
You know what's great about this is that I imagine I'm too far removed from this scenario.
Look at him; he's listening to music while operating the crane. This also has a lot of satire in it, like 76 does.
I'm too far removed from this to tell you if it's actually the case, but I imagine that somebody who's never seen this movie before, who's watching it for the first time, at this point would be like, "Why do people hate this movie so much? This is pretty fucking cool."
It's pretty interesting at this point, at least conceptually, and the production values are okay enough to support the concepts. So I think if this film had been an interesting science fiction piece the whole time, it would have been fine. But for like a fucking 45 minutes, if not longer, it becomes this boring monster on the run story, and it's just nonsense.
Yeah, I think when it starts to go downhill, there's the great scene where King Kong breaks into that hangar.
That's a great shot where he just stops moving when they pull the heart out.
There's a great scene where he breaks into a hangar and saves Lady Kong from captivity. But after that, when they go off into the wilderness, the movie kind of just slows down.
That is exactly where I always thought as a kid, like, oh, this is where this movie falls apart, is at this moment. Because after that, it's fucking boring as shit. Because that's when fucking Indiana Jones and Sarah Connor fall in love, and it's typical and boring. Ooh, that's great.
Now, I really love the fake heart prop. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's made out of fiberglass, and it was specifically stated that it was not meant to be realistic. It was designed to look cool, and I think it succeeded.
It totally looks legitimate too.
If anything, I think it's a little weird that it's that big, given the size of Kong's body. But the fake heart that they pulled out was about that size too, so I guess I buy it. You know?
I mean, speaking relatively to his size, that makes sense to me. That doesn't strike me as being too big. It seems pretty realistic. See, so far the special effects are fine. We haven't seen Kong move much.
Yeah, I think it was a wise choice of them to build those full-scale props of Kong and Lady Kong, because like in that scene, like in the scenes earlier on in the movie where they're just walking around the catwalks and they're like Kong's down there on the ground, they didn't have to do any compositing. There's like a physical Kong there that they're walking around, and it looks great.
There was a really cool pan at the beginning, or a tracking shot rather, not a pan, at the beginning. That was over that, and it looked really cool.
Now here we have celebration. Woohoo, Kong's alive!
See,
woo.
This is the social commentary that I think this movie is reaching. That 76 was performing as well.
Yeah, an extension of the 76 thing. Although in this case, it's a bit more about the media circus as opposed to the 76 was more about. I
think 76 was also about that, but it was more about the price of fame, and this is more about the sort of glitz and glamour and sort of no. You know what this is? This is like the fucking not whitewashing, but like genericifying for the general media of a serious issue of this endangered species, of these giant gorillas that there's only two left of them, and there's a male and a female, and one of them is going to die if he doesn't have heart surgery.
Right.
Like that's a very serious problem if you care about that kind of thing, obviously. And the idea of the media is to glitz and glamour it up so that way everybody will care about it. And that's what we were seeing there. And obviously they presented it in such a way where everybody cared. And that's what this is all about. It's like and that's what scientific grants have to do, is you have to make it appealing to people to want to put money into it. And that's what this party is about. There's good shit in this.
Now,
It's all going to disappear in a few minutes. Not in a few minutes, but in a little bit.
You might have missed it at home if you're watching along with us. Partly because we're talking over it, but there in the party scene just now, there was a nice little bit of exposition where our Jessica Lange character, Indiana Jones, as Bill likes to call him, was explaining that they're theorizing that Borneo and Skull Island were once part of a single landmass, since obviously Lady Kong found in Borneo, not on Skull Island.
Which I guess is fine. I mean, it's a little on the nose, like, of course, obviously. Ooh, that's a good shot. Where he looks over at her. And she's, like, not scared of him at all. That's awesome. She doesn't really show any fear at all in this movie. I like her character. She's probably my favorite character. Indiana Jones, I could take or leave. Every other character in this movie can suck a giant cock, like a Kong-sized cock.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't you agree?
She's a doctor. She's very devoted to her patient.
I think that's the most endearing thing about her.
My doctor never chased me into the woods. You know what I mean?
No, I wish he did. To be honest, that's when I need him the most. Or actually, my doctor's a lady these days.
Now Kong, already woken up, already horny as shit. He's already detected the fact that there is a female about a mile away. Now, I mentioned in the first commentary that we recorded that I think this is a very believable idea, that these creatures are able to detect themselves from vast distances away from each other, because it seems like they live very sort of loner lifestyles most of the time. I mean, Kong and Lady Kong were both alone when they were found, and that part of that is because they were the last of their kinds. But it seems like they have sort of a loner thing, and they're out there, so they would want to be able to detect a mate.
See, you don't think it's that they're actually social animals, and the fact that they're not lonely anymore is their saving grace, and the fact that they're separated at the end is so tragic, and it's so lucky that Lady Kong gives birth to a son, so that way the species will continue?
Well, I'm saying specifically that I think it's why it makes sense that they're able to detect each other from that great of a range.
As the situation presents it, it does make perfect sense that they're able to detect each other, because he can hear her, he can smell her. This is emphasized a lot in like the expanded material for the new Godzilla movie. Like, these giant monsters can hear and smell things from like miles away because they're gigantic, and their sensory equipment is way bigger than yours and I's. See, look at how ripped he is. Like, this is a lot closer to the Skull Island version than anything else.
And I mean, look how good like the senses are on like a fucking shark. Like, can you imagine how good
that's
the
not because of
senses
their size, but yeah, sure.
I know. I'm just saying you expand on that notion. And you think if you think about it, I mean, human beings, our senses have sort of devolved a bit because we don't really need them as much as we used to now that we're out of the wilderness.
Well, we're fucking evolving into fucking nothing because of our fucking the way we've progressed.
Eventually, we'll be brains in jars.
We're gonna be good for nothing in like 10 years.
Whatever. Eventually, we'll be the Borg, and
I mean, it doesn't matter because nothing.
I
mean, I haven't seen any evidence of anything yet that's going to threaten us to make that a problem. But as of right now, that's the way things are going to go. See, but here's the thing: people think that's a problem. It doesn't matter because we're not going to be able to fix it until something presents itself that will make us have to change things up. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, unless the zombie apocalypse happens tomorrow and we wind up having to go back to hunter-gatherer lifestyles, evolution is not going to suddenly reverse.
People who can will adapt, and those who can't won't. That is Darwin's basic principle, and that is it. And to try to preemptively kind of predict how to fix that is not going to happen. We should watch the movie though and stop talking about Darwinian evolution.
Yeah, we got on sidetrack talking about sensory organs. But yeah, we're about to get to that scene that I was talking about, the last scene before the movie slides downhill.
What do you think of their romance? It's pretty just nothing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think those two actors have any chemistry?
No, and I think it's his fault because I fucking love Hamilton.
You think it's his fault? Do you don't think it's
Yeah.
because she's not into the script? Because I get a sense that she's maybe not into this.
But I mean, I don't know. Linda Hamilton is such a
I have
good
no
actor.
evidence for that. I don't know anything about the behind the scenes or anything. I don't know anything about this movie that makes that seem to be the case. I mean, she's always struck me as very professional and very very competent. So I'm not saying that like I have any reason to think that, but something about her performance to me is a little off. That makes me think that maybe she's not into this idea. Maybe not even just like, oh, it's a King Kong movie, fuck that. Maybe she just doesn't like the script. And I mean, fair enough. It gets to be fucking bullshit in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, the reason I think, because she's usually such a good actress, I think the lack of chemistry is because she's just not getting a lot to work off of with him. You know, I mean, if she can be attracted to Ron Perlman in cat makeup, then there should be no problem acting against this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
So clearly there's just something off.
That's a good shot.
Can you imagine if it had been Michael Biehn in this movie? It'd
Oh
be
my
so much
God.
better.
Yeah, that would have been great. Again, a little on the nose, but yeah. Pierce Brosnan? Bring some Dante's Peak into this?
I just think, you know, if two actors are already proven to have chemistry together, who cares if you've seen them together before? Put them together again. Who gives a fuck?
If you're going to put an actor in like a Lady Kong, like reverse Jessica Lange situation, Pierce Brosnan would have been the way to go. Right? No, I'm being serious. Like that would have been the perfect kind of real life approximation for that.
You think Pierce Brosnan is the male Jessica Lange?
He's a pretty boy. He's a pretty boy.
Hmm.
I mean, he didn't get cast as James Bond for his fucking hardcore military edge. He got cast as James Bond because he was the prettiest boy of the 80s and the 90s. The prettiest British boy. And he wasn't even British. But nobody knew that because...
It's official. Everybody listening to the commentary make note that Bill Wurster thinks that Pierce Brosnan is a pretty man.
I'm not saying I think he's pretty. I'm saying that he is a pretty boy in terms of how he presents himself and how he used to present himself. He doesn't really do that now, obviously, because he's not a pretty boy anymore.
Right.
See, I don't think he's pretty now, at the very least. So even if I did think he was pretty, it doesn't matter anymore.
So what you're saying is 20 years ago, woof, but now...
Oh, sure. I mean, you wouldn't.
I love the fact, by the way, that they have Lady Kong in this fucking warehouse with like 2 trees.
Yeah, right. Like, well, that's the kind of genericifying of the problem that I talked about before. It's like they think that makes a difference. Like, as opposed to it just looking really depressing.
It reminds me of there's a great sequence of events in the 98 remake of Mighty Joe Young, where like they put him in that zoo and it's like he has to get used to like how confined it is and shit. Like, fascinating.
Oh, yeah, he runs around in like 2 seconds, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's like a really good movie, by the way. That's like a better Kong movie than this.
Yeah, we'll have to do a commentary on the 2 Joe pictures at some point. I don't have I like them, but I never had a terrible like, oh my god, these are fucking amazing. That's awesome. That's an awesome shot. Him busting through the wall.
Yeah, well, you know, I grew up with the remake to Mighty Joe Young.
Me
It
too.
was just a movie that we had on VHS and we would watch it occasionally. But recently, like sometime last year, I think it was, I gave it another go, and I was so shocked and amazed at how well it held up. I mean, it's a great movie.
The original was good because it's a you know, it's like a we're doing King Kong again, but not really.
It's also a legendary moment in film history where Ray Harryhausen and Willis O'Brien got to work together.
Mm-hmm. It's have you seen the original
Yeah.
recently?
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
It's been
not long.
eons since I've seen the original Mighty Joe Young, and I remember being as a kid being like, "This is a monster movie." Because it's not. It's not a monster movie. Like, they're not monster movies.
No, just a big gorilla.
It's just a big gorilla in a fucking romantic Hollywood movie. Thankfully,
argue
I think
that.
it's interesting. I think that the remake is less romantic, but it's also a Disney movie. Isn't that fascinating? What do you think of the Kong smiles?
They're a bit creepy.
Yeah, they're really creepy. I think that's a little much.
Again, I just don't like the face on this Kong, and whenever he does that smile, it looks like he's fucking high off his ass.
All right, well,
Like-
fair enough. I mean, who isn't? But one thing I want to ask you: what do you think of fucking Indiana Jones here going all Jeff Bridges and kicking people in the head and knocking them off bulldozers?
I guess it makes sense. He's the sort of, he's got sort of a connection to this Lady Kong, and he doesn't want them to hurt her.
That's a little much, though, right?
A tad, yeah.
I mean, Kong can take care of himself, and he can take care of Lady Kong. He should just watch on the sidelines and not interfere. That is statement enough.
Yeah, he has a bit of what I like to call Vince Vaughn syndrome, where your concern for the environment crosses the line into eco-terrorism.
Yeah,
Just a little
exactly.
bit.
I mean, listen, sure, stick out for his life, but listen, man, that's King Kong. I think you have to appreciate the fact that you appreciate his life should be represented by the fact that you just let him do what he thinks he has to do and not interfere.
That's a fascinating idea to explore, by the way. Like, how far is too far in regards to
I think that
protecting
should
the
be in a
environment.
Godzilla movie.
I think that's the perfect way in a Batman movie to approach Poison Ivy. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. That's an even more direct way to do it. But I'd love to see it. I'd love to see that approach taken to a giant monster.
I'd like to see that approach taken to Captain Planet. How far is too far for
It'd be
Captain
interesting
Planet?
if he was the villain of if Captain Planet was the villain in a Captain Planet movie. Like, I think that should be a horror movie before it should be a superhero movie.
We kind of got that with Don Cheadle.
Yeah, but that's I want like a legit like he wakes up and he's like, oh fuck this.
See, he can still be the hero. I just need a movie. If they do a Captain Planet movie at some point, I just need it to not be the fucking obnoxiously black and white version that was depicted in the cartoon. I need a little bit of that moral gray area where it's like, yeah, these guys are messing up the environment, but also, commerce and shit, like,
Yeah,
and like,
people
maybe
have
we shouldn't
jobs
have-
that they have to go to.
and like, heart guy, maybe you shouldn't have blown up that oil tanker.
But by the same token, they need to make the villains better, where it's not just like loot and plunder, where it's like what, and they're not just like pouring toxic waste into the ocean like they're producing stuff.
First of all, listen, don't make a Captain Planet movie. That would be the best way.
Again, we should be talking about this movie as opposed to pitching a better Captain Planet movie than what they will whatever Leonardo DiCaprio will make. But
Well, right now there's not really. We're at the point now where the movie starts to slump.
Yeah, it picks up a bit when the military starts to fight Kong, but that's not for another like 20-25 minutes.
Interesting fun fact: much of this movie was filmed in Tennessee. Some of the locations that they are filming in, I've actually been to.
Oh yeah, that's right. So this is like so this would be where you go into the mountains and shit, right?
Yeah, this is my neck of the woods. They had some other locations originally planned, but once the budget got cut, they wound up having to film pretty much most of it in Tennessee. And it looks about right because the institute that they had the Kongs at earlier was supposed to be in Georgia. There's not much difference between Tennessee and Georgia in terms of terrain, so it looks about right.
The guy's Indiana Jones' name is Mitchell. Mitchell.
Also, there are some fucking great locations to work with out in the Appalachian portion of Tennessee. Every time I go there, I think this would be the place to make a fucking Bigfoot movie.
When the choppers start dumping gas, I want the apes dropping, not us.
Now, what do you think of generic General Dude?
Oh, he's terrible. Fuck him.
Yep.
The actor does his best, but ooh.
My personal thought is that generic General Dude is generic.
Yeah, no good.
Here
This
we have,
is a good scene. It's a little much. It gets to be a little much.
Here we have the romancing of the Kongs. Truly a great love scene, ranking
Yeah.
up there among fucking Casablanca and fucking.
Yeah, the
sex
gorillas
scene
are a lot
with
more
her.
hunched over in this than Kong was in '76.
Yeah,
That's awesome. that they got a big guy in a suit to hold a real snake?
I think they also did that a little bit with King Kong Escapes in comparison to KKVG, but this is even more so. Like, yeah, they're walking like gorillas in this movie, and it becomes a bit distracting. It's a bit distracting only because you opened the movie with stock footage of Kong standing upright. Like,
oh wait, is that a real snake he's holding? No, I guess not. I guess it's a real snake when we get to it in a close-up. Like, that's a real snake.
I think the theory that you postulated the first time we tried to do this commentary was that it was probably like a baby snake in order to make the scale work.
Right.
Because obviously
I couldn't tell though. I couldn't tell what was a rubber snake and what wasn't. And that was the good effect. This is a really good scene. This is the part of this that I think really works. See, I think the arm extensions on the female don't look great there.
No. Oh, but you think the arm extensions in KKPG look fine? That's.
I think they look more understandable. See, that's great.
That's a fine kettle of fish.
He's trying to be like, oh, I'm in pain. Help me. See, that facial expression's good. That's not too much. Him grabbing her ass is a little much.
I think they just crossed the line into much there.
Yeah, that was a little much.
I think they tried a little too hard to make...
This is like I Love Lucy now. Like, oh, Lucy, I'm going to smack you on the ass. And then that grin is terrifying.
You know what I think the problem is? I think they tried to make the faces in this one look a little bit more human. And I don't like that.
No, it's bullshit.
Because in 76, the face was like the best part of the whole suit. Like, he was so fierce.
So expressive. They're definitely less expressive in this.
I don't know if I would say they're less expressive. They're just expressive in a different way.
Like
they smile.
Way?
Like they smile and shit, and it looks like they were like extras from an episode of Dinosaurs that never got filmed. And
a shitty episode of Dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, and in 76, it's like, you know, there are moments where you're like, is he snarling or is he smiling? Like, you know, you're not quite sure what he's doing, and it kind of adds to the tension.
But it doesn't look like you don't know what he's doing because the suit is bad. It just looks like he's an ape, and it's unclear what he's thinking. I'm listening to the audiobook for Congo right now. I was actually inspired to do that because after our 76 commentary, and we were like, oh, Michael Crichton should have done a King Kong book. That's kind of what Congo is. It's really good. It's definitely better than the movie.
Is that good? I have never read the book or seen the movie.
The book's pretty good. But there's a lot of talk in it about how, like, even though gorillas are mad smart, they're still gorillas. They're still an animal. Like, they're still different than people. And it's hard to interpret what they mean sometimes because their point of reference is so different. For instance, in one scene, there's a mention of how she drank some spoiled milk, and she indicates that by going, crocodile milk. I drank crocodile milk. And they're like, what? What the fuck does that mean? And she says, she sign language. If you don't know what Congo is about, there's a gorilla in it that knows how to do sign language, Amy. And she goes, crocodile milk, bad. And it turns out that means sour milk because she doesn't like crocodiles, so that's her word for sour. And she's never even seen a crocodile. She'd just seen them in pictures and was like, fuck that. That's obviously instinct, though. Like, if you know anything about primate instinct, whenever we see reptiles, we instantly jump because that's just instinct. Like, we're supposed to do that. We got a nice little upshirt shot of Linda Hamilton there. No.
I think that's why so many people are anti-snake. Because you get the reptile factor combined with the no legs factor.
Oh yeah, snakes are definitely the creepiest of the reptiles and definitely the prime cause of that fear, especially because they're the most poisonous. I guess I've always just looked.
I guess I've always just looked at things more scientifically than that. I've always been fucking fascinated by snakes.
And same thing with but crocodiles are different because they're big predators. Like they will kill you if they decide to kill you. You're done.
My family sees a snake, they'll like intentionally swerve to try and hit it. I see a snake, I'm like, let's observe.
They're like, we gotta take this thing out on the off chance that it might menace somebody else.
Like, what are you trying to do? A preemptive strike? What do you think? The snake has a vendetta? It's going to come for you later?
See, this is the parts of the movie that I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? They're trying to establish some kind of relationship.
You ever pour alcohol into a glass and then stare at it and try to figure out if that's enough?
Every time, every day in my life, man.
Yeah, a little more.
But this is boring. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah.
See, doesn't it look like she's not really into this?
She's not that into you.
She's just not that into you. Or you know what? I guess they were like, act cold. And she was like, all right. And she just acted cold during the entire scene and all the coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So she was just like chattering her lips and looking really tense the whole time. I don't know. Now it's
And then
night.
the director was like, take your shirt off. And she was like, what? And he's like, do it. Because that just came right the fuck out of nowhere.
Can you touch my dick? No, that's Megalon. Megalon's the director.
Now punch me in the face and call me a slut. Sir? Thought we were
building a movie here.
Oh, we are.
Making a movie with my dick.
Not the kind of
My
movie
dick
you
is a
signed
camera.
up for.
See, this is the problem with this movie. It's so boring that we've just devolved into like making
Talking about
porn
dicks.
out of it. Which it's kind of about to become that.
That's what we did with Snow Beast.
That is what we did with Snow Beast. That was a 70s schlock fest, though, so that made sense. 76 was too distinguished for that. This is just too boring.
In addition to doing these commentaries, me and Bill have also just been watching a lot of bad monster movies lately.
Not all bad.
No, not all bad. No. But oh boy, that Snow Beast.
Oh, Snow Beast. Snow Beast is fucking... It's Jaws in the snow. It's fascinating. But it's like a gay version of Jaws. It's
Okay, we're about to reach the point in the movie where things get a little
sexy.
little risque, little
If you have kids with you, you might want to ask them to leave the room. Why are they listening to a commentary on a movie from fucking 30 years ago with you?
It's a good question.
Also, if you know our stuff, do not let your kids listen to this.
No. Also, if you know our stuff and you're still here, wow.
Oh, thank you.
I commend you.
Yeah, Jesus. It's not advised. Oh, she's going down on him. Fuck. You know what? Why do I have to be subjected to this? Why do I have to be made jealous of this fucking giant gorilla's life? You know, like I go to my job, I fucking work my 8-hour shift, I come home, I want to escape, and I have to fucking watch this filth.
If it makes you feel better, she's having to go down really far because gorillas have small penises.
Right. So at least I have a bigger dick than King Kong. Is that what you're saying?
Well, proportionally, yes.
That's enough for me.
Like proportionate to the rest of your body, yeah.
That's enough for me.
So yeah.
Hey, it worked for Kong.
So it's on the dick scale. There's like him, most humans. This is proportionally again, and then somewhere on another star system is Ron Jeremy, fucking green alien chicks.
Ron Jeremy. Wow, yeah. Look at this guy's. Yeah, that's great. Good job. You didn't think to bring a sleeping bag? Oh, he lost it, did he?
I'm not sure. Maybe this was some dialogue that I missed when we were talking about penis size.
That's a shot for you. That's a shot and a half right there.
They may have no chemistry, but that's certainly a better flirtation than in Terminator.
That is yeah, holy shit, that is some sexy fucking cinematography right there. You sure about that? See, I like him a little better now. We're primates too. Ooh.
Well, see, now she's got to play it up because they're in a sex scene, but it just feels like it comes right the fuck out of nowhere because the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it does. Like, she was not into this a minute ago. Heat of the moment.
Maybe seeing Lady Kong going down on King Kong got her going, you know?
I think so. I think that's the idea of the scene. I think that was the idea behind the line. We're primates too. I kind of got the sense like we're gonna fuck and we're not gonna have a relationship after this, which is weird because they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're primates, like, oh, we're just gonna fucking move on because we just have this animalistic need. But I guess the idea is, oh, we're primates too, we should pair up, I guess.
Well, I think maybe they might have started out with the intention of not having a connection afterwards, but you never know.
I certainly don't know how that feels. No, we don't even get
maybe,
that real. Ooh, see, this is very real. This is a little more my speed.
Maybe the
She's
dick was
down
just too
there
good.
alone. That's a little. I'm a little more familiar with that.
Maybe the dick was just too good. You know what I mean? First, Linda Hamilton was like, I'll fuck him once, whatever. Then afterwards, she was like, damn.
All right, I'll pair up. See, now the movie gets kind of good again. That was a good shot where he roared up at the helicopters. How far are we into this thing? Jesus.
Yeah, I'm sure Kong's probably got some.
Oh boy, we have an hour left. Ooh.
I'm sure Kong probably has some helicopter trauma.
Is this the longest one so far?
I think so. Yeah, because the 233 movies are not very long. I don't think KKVG was longer than this. Escape certainly wasn't.
What's up with the slow motion?
I don't know. 76 also, yeah, shorter than. I think this is the shortest one. I mean, the longest one. So far, it will be outdone. Believe you me.
Oh yeah. Fuck that less, but fuck that too.
At least they're gassing the Kong instead of just being like, shoot him.
I mean, that's what they did in the first place. I mean, in 33. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they should. I mean, they haven't destroyed anything yet, except the facility, but that made a little more sense. Oh, wait, are they just going to save... I think maybe they're like, we're just going to save the female and kill Kong. I don't remember, though. We'll see. Bring in the big birdie.
You'll be sorry now, Lady Kong. We're taking you to the Cincinnati Zoo.
What do you think of that massive Kong?
Looks a little less good when it's out in the fucking wilderness. Like, the reason the one worked earlier is because, you had, like, the catwalks and shit all around it. Like, it was part of a scene. When you just have the fucking big Kong doll laying in the middle of a clearing, it's less impressive.
See, yeah, this Kong suit does not look as good as the first one. Which is interesting. 10 years later, all the compositing looks better in this. The suitimation just isn't as good.
Well, it's just about the fact that the talent was different, man. Rick Baker left, and Rick Baker is a hell of an asset to have on your side.
Ooh, wow, that's kind of cool. Where he jumps down. It's kind of like King Kong versus Godzilla going on in the background, like where they're airlifting a Kong.
At least this Kong, regardless of how I feel about the face, at least he can still pull off a pretty good snarl when he needs to.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely looks cool here. He should be dead.
He can still be menacing at points.
Oh, I guess they're just trying to scare him off.
Well, I mean, they're using grenades, and not the best thing to try to aim. You know what I mean?
Right, and I also don't think they're trying to kill him, at least not yet. Yeah, that shot didn't look too bad. The close-up on his face.
Now what am I supposed to stick my dick in?
Oh, now he's... See, that was awesome where the lips went up. That was the closest thing to 76 we've seen so far.
Y'all motherfuckers took my blonde bitch and my ape bitch.
Yeah, this is just Kong constantly getting fucking cock blocked.
At least he got a little action before the cock block this time.
Yeah, that was nice. I'm sure he really appreciated that. You know what's fucked up? King Kong is a virgin prior to that.
I guess, yeah. Well, we don't know if maybe there was another female gorilla at some point on Skull Island that maybe died. You know what I mean?
He was probably too young though.
We can assume that he was a virgin, but I don't have enough data to say without a doubt.
So in other words, you're saying Pixar, it didn't happen.
Now that was a pretty bad composite right there.
Yeah, that was pretty shit. I will grant you.
We gave this movie some credit for 10 years worth of technical advancement, and you can definitely tell most of the time, but that was not a good shot. No.
See, this is always the part of this movie when I was a kid where I was like, "Oh God, this is why you can still do King Kong versus Godzilla, because like he can fight the military. It's not the same thing as Godzilla where he can just take the punishment like a tank. He has to kind of maneuver his way around them, but he can do it. Like just being a big fucking strong, smart gorilla like he is, like he can basically do anything.
See, from a technical standpoint, this movie is pretty solid. It's all about the construction of the narrative. That's where
Him
it falls.
throwing the rock on that car didn't look great.
No.
But overall, yeah, technically rather solid.
But it's a 1986 kind of passable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It looks maybe like 4 years past the original. But not much further. Not 10 years.
Oh, right there, buddy.
This rain is definitely fake. That's a good...
What?
That matte painting is questionable.
You think this rain's fake? What? How dare you, Bill?
What?
No. How dare you insinuate that this fucking rain is fake?
Look at it's like pouring off of him. Jesus.
God, did a monsoon hit?
We've got to get out before the monsoon starts.
You know, this was filmed in Tennessee, and it's supposed to be in Georgia. Occasionally, if a hurricane hits Florida, by the time it gets up to us, it'll be a tropical storm, but we do still get some of that rain. Maybe that just happened to happen during the course of this movie's events.
Wow. Doesn't he look way smaller there?
Yeah.
Like
sort of reminds me of that one shot in Megalon where suddenly Megalon looked like way smaller than he was before.
When he
during
fell
the
off
dam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him in the river is good though. See, I've never seen this movie on a quality DVD. It looks pretty good. I've only seen it on a shitty VHS prior. Oh, this is about to be pretty brutal.
Mufasa.
This doesn't happen to Mufasa.
Well, falling off a cliff happens to Mufasa.
Well, it happened a few minutes ago, sure. Did you see the rainbow?
If you replace the rushing water with rushing water buffalo.
Did you see the gay propaganda in this movie? That's fucking brutal. Ooh. You can tell there's nobody in that suit, though. Not even your Kong could survive that.
I think this movie would be better if it had the balls.
Oh, they totally had reason to think he was dead, for sure.
Do you think this movie would have more balls if, it'd be better if they had actually killed Kong right then and then the rest of the movie became Lady Kong's revenge?
No.
Certainly would have been ballsier, but I don't know if it would have been better.
Maybe it would have made it shorter, and so far that would have been preferable. So yeah, you know what? Totally, make it shorter. Maybe
maybe
that would be interesting. Actually, I could get on board with that.
I do like these sequences where they have Lady Kong in captivity, though. From an idea standpoint, it's pretty interesting and solid.
Well, I mean, I like the oh, she was in a really shit warehouse before. Now she's just in a big dungeon.
Yeah, reminds me of the scene in '76 where we got to see him actually in captivity on the boat, which I enjoyed because other versions of King Kong they always go, well, we're on the island. Well, now we're back in New York. We actually got a little bit between in '76.
There was a bit of a time skip there, so now we're like months later. What do you think of the idea of the time skip?
Well, you kind of had to have one because she gives birth by the end of this movie.
That's true. And she's also
even,
sick, and they don't understand why, and it's because she's pregnant. They don't realize that she's pregnant.
and even if you assume that maybe these giant apes have a smaller gestation period than maybe your typical primate, it still would have to be a roughly, what we expect from a primate in terms of...
Yeah, all movie pregnancies are either too short or too long.
length of pregnancy. Look at fucking Zero and Escape from the Planet of the Apes. She barely showed.
Until she had to at the end.
Yeah. I was like, it's almost
And
like
then
the
they made her
writer...
giant.
I was like, it was almost like the writer came up with that idea halfway through writing the script.
Did he?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
It just feels a little bit like that to me.
I like that she was working at a regular hospital in between.
Like, it feels to me like the movie was clipping along, and then the screenwriter was like, I need some more conflict. Ooh, maybe she's pregnant. You know what I mean?
I disagree. I think that was planned.
This movie, I'm sure it probably was. I just get that feeling a little bit when I watch it. Like, I
Sure.
have no doubt in my mind that it was pre-planned. It just, it seems like it comes a little out of nowhere. Of course, I haven't watched that movie in a while. Maybe the next time I watch it, it'll be like, oh, they totally set it up beforehand. But as far as I can remember, it seems to just come right the fuck out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Now, in this movie, it doesn't feel that way at all because, the whole point of, like, the first half of the movie was getting Kong and Lady Kong together.
Right.
So that he could knock her ass up with his proportionally small ape penis.
I feel like the time skip represents, though, like, the fact that this movie kind of has nothing happening in it. Why the hell don't they have a doctor looking at her? What the fuck? Like, she's still a living thing. Like, if you're gonna keep her alive, you have to at least be humane, right?
I don't know. It seems to me like the military has been allowed to just keep her however they want in the interests of public safety.
Why not just kill her then? Why are they even keeping her alive if it's not for any kind of, like, purpose?
Maybe red tape, maybe fear of outrage from people if they were to...
So that they're not going to kill her, but they're going to keep her in shit conditions.
Well, they can totally lie to people and be like, "Oh, she's in fucking great condition," She's...
Yeah, but why even take that risk? Because if people find out if she's in these conditions, it doesn't seem like they care if they're letting them in.
Now, I'm not sure exactly how long the time skip was supposed to be, but he just said that she's been acting this way for about 3 or 4 months. And typically, a gorilla pregnancy is not that much shorter than a human pregnancy, but it might just be...
They said last summer, though, when they were like, "Oh, I've been stuck in this rat hole since last summer." I think that it's been like 7 or 8 months since Kong died, quote unquote.
Okay, maybe she just wasn't showing symptoms until 3 or 4 months ago. I guess that makes sense.
So, with the title King Kong Lives, do you think it refers to the beginning or this part where we find out that he's still alive?
Kind of both, I think more so the beginning. That was like the whole point. Like, he's not dead, folks. We're gonna make another one.
Well, that's why it's called that, right?
But
See,
I guess
there you go.
worked.
There's another example of using a baby animal to represent a bigger animal. Doesn't work so well here because I can very clearly tell that's a baby alligator.
Yeah, I can too.
And now that's a big alligator.
Yeah, you can clearly tell. And I mean, I'm not as well versed in crocodilians as you are, Bill. But fucking, you can just look at the fucking neck.
Wow, I love how he was smiling when he snapped that in half. That was kind of glorious. See, I don't like all this. See, right before they were like, "Oh yeah, he's got to eat a lot of protein to stay alive." Fine. Why do I have to see it? It's fucking gross.
I kind of like it.
It's fine for 2 seconds, but it goes on for too long.
you never get to see giant monsters actually. You see them in the wild because humans come upon them, but you actually just get to see them surviving out there and doing their thing.
I
I
guess.
think it's neat. I kind of wish there was like a whole like fake like imagine a fake documentary set on Skull Island. Like there's a bunch of people there with like cameras and they're just
They
photographing and
kind
they're
of
just
had that on the '05 DVD.
oh, did they?
Yeah.
But imagine if it was like a whole like feature length movie that was just like that, just like a fucking like it's presented as if it's a fucking documentary, but it's on Skull Island and like the dinosaurs are just going about their business and fucking Kong's out there going about his business.
Don't you agree that him eating people is too much?
Eating people, yes, I was fine with the alligators for the reasons I was just stating, but eating people goes to another level, I think.
But I think that initially, you know what? I will agree with you. It's fine because it's presenting it very realistically. Like he's not. I was about to say, I like that he's not acting all super fucking animalistic and savage. Like he's not like acting like a monster. He's just eating to survive. But when he eats the people, it's very like savage. Really, it's almost like he's become a cannibal, and I don't like that.
Yeah, really. He goes from a Santa to a Gyra really quickly, and it's like, what? Where'd that come from? Does he eat them in like a? I don't remember the shot exactly. Does he
No,
eat them
no,
in
he
like?
eats them. D. He doesn't. He swallows them.
So it's not in like a self-defense situation.
Well, it is. It's more like revenge, though.
Okay. If it's in a self-defense situation, then I can understand that. I mean, you're going to kill him anyway. Might as well get the protein. But
I guess. But it doesn't. Fine, but why write that though? Why do I have to see that?
I don't know. Somebody thought it would be a good idea.
It's not though. It wasn't. You don't agree?
Weren't there some shots in 33 where he like bit people, but then he would like throw
He
them
don't.
back
He
down or
doesn't
something?
swallow them.
Hmm.
He doesn't even chew. He does. If it happens, it's so quick we don't even see it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. Again, I'm fine with the alligators, but I think eating the people is a step too far. I think certain monsters, can eat people, and that's fine. But Kong's not a man eater. That's never been a thing before.
It kind of puts a very awkward damper on his character.
Like if anybody out there has ever read the book Project Nemesis, that's like a whole thing. Like Nemesis eats people, and that's just a thing she does, and that's fine. That's like an established part of her character. But Kong is like, he's used his teeth for self-defense purposes before. We've seen that, or to like kill people with his teeth, but he never eats them.
Baragon in Frankenstein Conquers the World has that too, and it's done because they want Frankenstein to be framed for the murder of those people.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
That was a good bit where he found out where they were keeping her and the condition she was in. He ran up to the gate and he got punched. That was kind of great. I mean, it was dumb, but it was intentionally dumb. God, that's too real. You haven't slept in 24 hours. Shut up! Stop telling me things that are true. Okay, this is dumb. Them communicating via the moon? Like, I don't get how that works. Unless they're way closer together than they seem, and he can really hear her. But I don't think that's the case. It seems to be this weird... Because Linda Hamilton before was talking about how she was having, like, feelings and shit about how the fact that Kong was still alive. And I think that the idea is that, like, there's some weird telepathic connection between Kong and Lady Kong and Linda Hamilton and Mitch and everything. It's kind of weird. I don't really like it.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
See here, he's looking at the moon like, oh, my love. It's almost like the movie Nuki. You ever seen the movie Nuki? The alien E.T. ripoff?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. They communicate with, like, the sun or whatever.
Okay, I had a slight delay, but
Yeah, now we're into it.
Isn't this the part where Michael comes in and kills them?
Yeah, this has suddenly become like a slasher movie, but with King
Is that-
Kong.
Was that Bill Paxton?
Those big oh boy, that. See, that dates this instantly.
Bill, is that Bill Paxton?
No,
It looks just like Bill Paxton.
hang on. I wasn't really paying attention. Don't do that to me, D.
No, really, it looks like him. I'm genuinely curious. This is only 2 years after Terminator. I mean, he wasn't a big name yet.
Google it. Google it. In the interim, I'll talk about Katie's Corner, the store. I'm sure it's great. It's got a Pepsi machine outside. I love this dude. He points the guns at all the people. That's great. The guy's awesome. I love him. I love he just fucking waddles out with a shotgun. They all get in the boats. Come on, baby, you're gonna love this. That was a good shot. See, all the compositing and everything in this movie is better than 76, but only because it's 10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
See, now this is like our Jaws scene where it's like, we're going to hunt the monster. I want to put its head on my hood. These are the guys that are going to get eaten. I remember them very well. Deliverance? What the hell does that mean?
I think you know what that means.
Nope. Oh, there he is. I want that ape head on my pickup. Yeah, good. Joust your shotguns at the military. Good idea. Stick up your finger at them, too. Good. Oh, man. I guess they're looking for Kong now. So I guess now they know that he's a thing again. See, I guess we're just too disjointed from these characters now. I have no idea what they're doing. So I think the time skip overall helps, but it hurts the characters because we don't know what the hell they're about now. You still there, D?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm
You
here.
were mad quiet. I was like, am I talking to myself? Oh, yeah, good. Go right into the rock. Oh, he just narrowly missed it. Good for him. We gotta hump it. Ooh.
Unfortunately, typing was Bill Paxton in King Kong Lives just pulls up a bunch of articles about King Kong Lives. But that looked like him, man.
I wish we could go back, but we'd have to have everybody go back, and that's not gonna work. Oh, here we go. This is the dreaded scene. See, look how many of them there are, too. Look how long this is gonna take. D, why don't you just go to the IMDb and look up if Bill Paxton was in King Kong Lives? Like, look, go to the cast list for IMDb of King Kong Lives and see if Bill Paxton is in there.
Yeah, I tried that, but I mean, they don't have all the extras and shit listed. And if he was in this movie, he would have just been credited as an extra. I mean, he was only in there for like 2 seconds.
He's a little more than he's a little more than an extra, but yeah.
I'm just saying it looked like him in the face. Might not have been him.
It was a lookalike. They were like, we got a guy who looks just like Bill Paxton. Our movie's gonna make so much money.
And other people were like, who? And then they were like, the fucking guy from Terminator 2 years ago.
The guy who died in the first 10 minutes of that.
The one who said, fuck you, asshole.
No, he didn't say that. Oh, yeah, he did. You're right. See, this was actually a smart idea.
Burying Kong, yeah.
This is a good way to get him. They totally fuck it up, though. Because if they would have just taken him here, they would have won. They would have gotten him.
Great ideas, lackluster execution.
Although he should be able to get out.
Yeah, even the way it's pictured here. I mean, the rock is giving way whenever he's wiggling. You'd think he'd be able to worm his way out of there.
I guess they try to make it as sympathetic as possible that he eats them, but even still.
Why didn't they shoot him in the fucking face? Surely they know he's going to break out at some point and kill them. I mean, have they never seen him?
I also don't think that would have done anything.
What, shooting him in the fucking face?
Yeah.
A couple times, close range. I mean, helicopters took him down in the first movie. Why not?
I guess. I think you need a bigger gun than those.
We're going to need a bigger gun.
Think about the quality of bullets that are in those guns.
I don't know, man. These are rednecks. Some of them are.
Ooh, that's
fucking
awesome. I always like that line. Hey, now that's some good liquor, son. I like this boy's at. Ooh, boy. This just took a turn for the dark. Somebody was like, "Oh, we'll leave the damn animal alone." Does that guy get away? I forget.
I don't remember. Bill, I don't know, though. These guys might be packing some serious heat. You don't know rednecks like I know rednecks.
That's true. Were they eating
This was
SpaghettiOs?
This was filmed in Tennessee. Do you have any idea how fucking easy it is to get a gun here?
Go get one now. We'll wait.
All right. Now, the only thing you really have to do is I think you have to take like a class.
Oh.
Well, that's to get your carrying permit. I don't think you need that to just buy. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure you can buy just like rifles and shit, like in shotguns to keep in your house. Like, you don't need anything for that. You know, so you can kill intruders.
Well, thank God.
Also, you can invite people over to dinner, shoot them, and then say that they were intruders.
Have you gotten away with that in the past?
No, but I've thought about it. You know, it's not a bad way to murder. You know,
If you have to murder.
if you frame it up just right.
Oh boy, here we go.
Just saying. Better if you have a pig pen out back, though.
Oh, right. Oh boy. See, yeah, that's a little much, isn't it?
Breaking him in half like a piece of jerky.
Yeah.
He didn't eat him, though.
No, but even still. Kong looks a little bit like he does in King Kong versus Godzilla from that angle. He looks like he has like these blank, drunk eyes.
Yeah, and terrible arm extensions.
It looks like he's killed them in order of how much of an asshole they were to him so far. Like, first it was the drunk guy, and then now it's this guy. I mean, they're all drunk, but I mean the one who was, like, super drunk. This guy he's gonna eat.
Screen fades to red.
Oh, see, that's a really bad shot, too.
Yeah, that was probably the worst composite I've seen so far.
See, it's creepy. See, that's just creepy. Oh, he picks the fucking hat out. That's just it's not what I come to a King Kong movie to see.
I mean, but Bill, how many times have you been eating your chicken and you've been like, fuck, had a hat on?
Not
it's relatable,
enough.
you know?
Not enough times. See, most of them got away, it seems. Or did he kill them early on? I just missed that.
I feel like they did that whole thing just because it's the 80s. We can get away with this shit.
That's exactly what they said. There's like nobody minds King Kong eating people in the 80s.
No.
I'm not even saying I'm against it. I'm just saying it's the way it's portrayed I don't like.
Bill, I'm going to ask you a serious question.
What?
The question I think has been hanging over this entire week of Kong commentaries.
Oh my god.
Do you think if there was a real-life Kong in the real world, would it be delicious?
No. Apparently primates aren't very good.
Really?
Mm-mm.
I've heard
It's
conflicting
stringy.
stories. Stringy?
Yeah. It's sinewy like people.
What if you took advantage of its stringiness?
In what way?
You sold it as like individual Kong strings.
I guess if you want to try that hard, go for it.
I don't know. I see a fictional animal and I think, would it be delicious?
I don't know. I have not heard good things about primate meat, and I'd be considering how illegal it is, I would be reluctant to take part in eating it. But
You think
you get me a
dinosaurs
sample,
were?
sure, I'll try a little bit.
You think dinosaurs were delicious?
If they were big chickens, definitely.
That's true. That's true. Well, they're halfway between reptile and bird. Chicken's good. I've heard great things about gator tail. I can only imagine, you know.
Your water salivates at the notion.
Mm.
Your mouth, not your water. Your mouth salivates
Weird.
at the notion. Sorry.
That was a weird way of putting that, but yeah.
I'm tired. It's late.
Clearly mammoths were delicious. If not, they would be here now.
This movie has destroyed me, D. I'm so tired.
Right now I'm theorizing about whether different animals would be delicious. You think if there was a Godzilla in the world and you could eat it without being killed by the radiation, you think he would be delicious?
He would be more delicious than Kong. That's one thing. That's one thing Godzilla definitely has over Kong, is he would definitely be better tasting.
Based on the fact that we know that reptiles, when eaten, are good.
Mm-hmm. And we don't do primates because we think that's wrong. So they're also probably not good. That's probably the real reason.
I don't know, though. Do you think all the stories about human meat being bad are just propaganda? Because a lot of cultures do it.
Propaganda.
Maybe it's good.
It's also not good for you, apparently, to cannibalize.
Well, I know you're not supposed to eat the brain of your fellow species, because there are these things in the brain called prions, and that's basically how people wind up with shit like mad cow disease. Like that's what it comes from, because they would sometimes like just feed ground up beef to cows, which is fucked up. But yeah, sometimes some of the brain would get in there, and if you eat the brain,
to Skittles.
If you're a cow and you eat cow brains, then you wind up. I don't know why it doesn't work that way with other animals. Like you can eat brains of other animals, but there's something about eating the brain of your same species that like fucks with you.
I didn't know that. I mad cow disease was a big thing when we were kids, and I had no idea that that's what caused it. See, look at these douchebags in their fucking rich boy cars.
Holy shit, that's a DeLorean, isn't it?
Maybe. Yeah, it looks like it might be.
It has the DeLorean doors. I've never seen
a lot of cars like that had that in the 80s, though.
That's true. And to be fair, I've never seen a non-time machine DeLorean, so I really don't know what they look like normally.
I always liked this scene because I played golf. I was whenever I was on a golf course, I always thought about this scene.
Bill, is golf even remotely fun?
Yeah.
It isn't fun to watch, I know that much. So,
sure, I mean, obviously, because it's fucking. It looks slow, but when you're playing it, it doesn't feel slow.
Mm.
As long as you're not playing with too many people. If you're playing with too many people, it's just it is slow. But as long as you're just playing with like one or two people, it's fine. And also, if you're playing on a crowded golf course, that sucks because then you have to wait for people.
I could never play golf. Requires a level of skill that I'm not willing to work towards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not something you can just pick up and play. Or at least well. I mean, you can.
I suck at fucking putt, man. Fucking.
That's hard though. Putting is the hardest part of golf.
Fucking mini golf, man. I always go too hard or not hard enough. I can never find that sweet spot,
See, now it almost feels like we're kind of rushing to the end of this movie. We haven't been talking about this movie at all.
No, you're right. We haven't. It's late.
It is late. We're 22 minutes in. No, we're not 22 minutes in. We have 22 minutes until the end. And it looks like we're scrambling to a climax. So Kong, why did Kong take so long to go get Lady Kong? What changed?
Well, I mean, he got distracted by those
delicious alligators.
Right, and the rednecks. No, the alligators were before he realized that Lady Kong was nearby. For
So
some
we had
reason, he
no
didn't.
idea prior to that.
That seems to be the idea, because I mean, there's that scene where like they sense each other or whatever the fuck happened.
Okay. See, now he's there.
It feels like longer than it actually was because we took a huge fucking break in the middle of watching this movie. But
That's true. I remember this part.
I like how he's just like, oh, a lot of soldiers. I'll just stroll on down there.
Did he see that? I don't, because I didn't notice that until just now. I don't think they've seen him yet either, or I don't think they know exactly where he is.
What if they're not even looking for Kong, Bill? What if they're out squatching and then they happened upon a Kong?
That would make sense. I mean, the kind of mission accomplished. That's a good shot. The face has kind of looked better over the course of the movie. Would you agree with that?
I don't like the sculpt of the face, but it is pretty expressive, you know. Like I can't fault it for that. Whenever he's snarling and shit and coming towards camera, and really from a distance it doesn't look that bad. It's whenever they go to like these derpy ass close-ups that it doesn't work.
I'd have to agree.
Like early on in the movie when he was lying down, or in the scenes where he was romancing the Lady Kong.
I really thought he was smart there to like just throw rocks up into the air to fuck up all the fucking military dudes who were shooting at him. That was really clever.
He's definitely better at this than A*P*Key.
Certainly. And again, I think that this justifies your like King Kong destroying a city military movie. Like he could pose a very serious threat. Oh yeah, this dude's gonna get... Oh no, he doesn't get iced early. Kong gets Lady Kong, and then he goes to take his revenge after that mother. Wait, no, the mother's still locked up, dude.
Interesting that this isn't even... Is this the general character right here?
Colonel, he's a colonel.
Colonel, whatever.
Nevitt or whatever?
That is him though, right?
It was, yeah.
Okay, maybe it was just the blood all over his face. I didn't recognize him at first, and I was like, why is one random-ass soldier just becoming the focus of the movie?
Maybe it was a stunt double, I don't know.
But it was the Colonel. Okay, that works.
Arguing continues. That's what my subtitles just said. See, this reminds me of like the scene from Terminator 2 where they sneak into the hospital. I wonder if there was some influence there. Probably not.
What timestamp are you on, Bill?
I'm at 1:26, 15, 16, 17.
Okay, you're literally 1 second ahead of me. I don't think it's that big of a deal, though.
No, I say we just keep going. We're so near the end anyway.
Yeah, really.
Thank fucking God. This has felt like an eternity.
I think I had a longer delay than you did when we turned the movie.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
It's probably what caused it.
See, doesn't this look like a great place to keep a primate?
Oh, yeah. Looks like they're in fucking Siberia. It's great.
This is fucking hilarious. And very 80s. It's like, would that really work? Where it's like, if a woman wandered onto a military base, would they really be like, hey, mama? Like, wouldn't they be like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Hello, nurse. I'm not bothered by the fact that the Lady Kong is redheaded, but why does it only go down to her shoulders and then the rest of her body is a darker color? I don't like that.
Because I think they want to emphasize the fact that she's ginger. Just to fuck with us and make us mad.
Turns out she's the next generation.
Make us want to take up pitchforks and torches against her.
That's why they locked her in here. Clearly she's a giant monster who has no soul.
Right. So they've locked her in hell. And they know that her spawn will be the hell spawn. This composite's still pretty good. It's good that they have an elevator that's that strong.
Right, her entire enclosure is a giant elevator. I guess that makes sense. That's probably how they got her down there to begin with.
I think that's cool. It's like Evangelion. But with a female pregnant gorilla.
Do such elevators really exist on military bases? And if so, what do they use them for normally? I wonder.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Deployment of gear, maybe? Like you keep a tank down there and then raise it up?
Well, they have underground bases, so I'm sure that it's there for, like, you know, transportation. Transportation. He's like, I don't think that was a hot mama.
Put a cargo
Johnny
truck
Bravo,
on that.
military man.
Oh, mama.
King Kong's escape. Queen Kong, I mean, my bad. Groaning continues. So these subtitles are amazing.
Right, you could put the same subtitles over a porn and it would make just as much sense.
This is kind of a porn, but an actual movie. Is this the first time she's gotten her hands on him?
No, I think it happened earlier, didn't it? When they were in Borneo? No, it didn't. I think this might actually be the first time.
Interesting.
Odd.
And it sucks that it's right when Kong comes in. Why does she even hang on to him if Kong's there?
Kong's like, hey, baby.
Interesting. See, again, man, this all looks fine, I guess. It's just boring as fuck. It's so slow. It's kind of a cool bit, though, over here. I mean, obviously, where he's wrecking the door.
Yeah. Like, I really like this. I just wish there was less of the middle of this movie.
Also, it's like the tension in the scene is totally deflated because, like, we knew that they were going to get out already, so it was just a matter of time. Like, the fact that Kong did it is just kind of like, well, okay, fine.
I feel like there's a way you could fan edit this movie, take out like 20 minutes, and it would be so much more tolerable.
I think you got to take out more than 20 minutes.
Well, you got to keep it close to an hour and a half, or else it's no longer a feature film, Bill.
Yeah, so cut out like a half hour then, or 40 minutes.
If you cut out 40 minutes, it will only be an hour.
It's not... Oh. How long is this movie in general?
An hour and 44 minutes and 44 seconds.
Okay.
Mind you, some of that is probably credits, but that is the total runtime of this DVD disc, so... This digital video disc, if
Regardless of feature film runtime, this should be an hour-long movie. This should be a TV special. It's really convenient Kong doesn't get jealous and kill Indiana Jones.
The 90-minute rule is kind of stupid anyway, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, who cares?
Just doesn't apply to all stories.
It's negatively affected a lot of movies.
Case in point, King Kong Lives, which,
We're
like, I mean,
exemplifying right now.
You could cut out some of the love scenes earlier on between the two gorillas. You could cut out the whole hillbilly sequence. I mean, cut all that shit out.
Oh my god, I fucking forgot about this. This is fucking nonsense.
The square dance.
The square dance!
Well, it is Georgia.
I haven't seen you in 100 years, boy. That's great. King Kong shows up. See, this is a pretty good composite.
That's a pretty good joke, though. You never
That is
know
really good. You never know who's going to show up.
You're right. I met my first wife at a family reunion.
That's really great.
That ain't Mama.
It's my sister.
No, too pretty to be a mama.
Well, why did he even have to get picked up? That tension was deflated in 2 seconds. Now she's down.
But wait, even if they have this baby Kong,
Oh, and suddenly she has a stomach in a second.
if she has the baby Kong, how is that a solution to them going extinct anyway? There's nothing for that baby.
It's not unless there's another female out there.
Exactly. That baby Kong has to have something to fuck
I
eventually.
love how actually talking about human incest brought you back to that.
When were we talking? Oh yeah, you're right. But I mean, unless she has another baby Kong at some point, that's a female, I guess. Like it's fucked up. But when your population's dropped this low, what options do you have? You know,
Right.
and all the weird inbreeding effects that has winds up being a part of your species' evolution.
He totally gets fucked up way worse in this than he does in 76, right?
I think so. It doesn't have any of the emotional impact of that scene, but I think he does get fucked up
I
more.
don't necessarily agree. I think it's got some of it. It's not as impactful.
Yeah, well, the scene in 76 is just carried, just pulled off so much better is the thing. But yeah, I think he gets shot up more in this just because it's a ground battle. He's facing tanks, so he's taking fucking like tank shells at close range. Like it's brutal. 2 or 3 helicopters. This is not.
I always thought this was way more brutal than any other time when he's fallen off that fucking building. Like, cause he's just getting tanks and so much more than he's ever gotten, and he's still going. Like, he's not swaying, he's not worrying about falling off a building, he's just head on taking this shit, and it's fucking badass. This is pretty cool. Although this is like a similar moment to when see, this is exactly the same scene as 76, where he crushes Michael. What was that actor's name? Charles Grodin.
You know what this scene reminds me of for some reason?
What?
Category.
Yeah, a little bit. It's the same scene as in 76, though. I always thought Godzilla 2000 stole that from King Kong 76. This is finally it.
I always love those moments in monster movies when there's like some obstinate human who stands up to the monster even though he knows he's about to die.
If he didn't have the fake heart, do you think he would have survived this? He took a lot of tank shells.
He did, but I mean, assuming that heart is just replacing what was already there, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting question.
One that this movie will not answer.
I mean, he didn't exactly withstand it all, you know.
No.
He's pretty fucked up. I mean, doesn't he,
He's fucked up, but I mean, it seems like the heart is more of why he's fallen over now than anything else. Like, he was fine a second ago.
I mean, in the last movie, he fell off the World Trade Center, and his heart was still beating afterwards. And apparently was faintly still working afterwards, or else they wouldn't have been able to put him in intensive care and keep him alive for 10 years. I just think the Queen Kong face looks so much better than him.
I think it's more expressive, like the expressions look more natural, but he looks cooler.
It doesn't have as much derpiness, you know. There's something derpy about the way his face looks in the movie, especially when it's just like him looking like his normal. His resting face, super derpy.
Well, we see them finally kind of like Kong's not worried about killing anybody right now, so they can kind of get close. Like, look at how close she is to him.
He suffers from resting derp face, dude.
You're not wrong. What happened? So, okay. So how did she give birth and now the baby's just sitting on top of her? Did it, like, burst out of her chest like the alien?
I thought she just sat it down, like, on her leg, like her hand. Isn't that what we just...
Isn't that baby way too small?
I've always thought so, yes.
Like
there's
Jesus
no reason.
Christ. Like, it can't be person-sized because that doesn't make any fucking sense.
There's no reason, in my opinion, that she should have even had to strain for that pregnancy.
I will admit that I think that this is a touching scene. I know it doesn't work for everybody. You said it doesn't seem like it works for you, but it's
Well,
just,
him
it's a
getting shot
sad,
up.
more drawn out, maybe more
And I don't get
retrospective
the,
version of King Kong dying, where he has more of a overall legacy. Like
well,
he's crying and everything. Like, Jesus.
well, what I meant before is I don't get the same feels when he's actually getting shot up as I did in the last movie. But all this stuff where he sees the baby, this is all great.
Mm-hmm. Very different. Just, we can never get this in any other version of this story.
Oh God, kill it with fire.
Yeah, so I guess we should talk about the suit, right? Like, on the baby, it's I mean, it's fine, but
it's kind of terrifying, don't you think?
because we're so close on it and the scale is so different. See, that's kind of creepy. I don't know. It's not as bad as the baby fucking Bigfoot in The Legend of Boggy Creek 2. I'll give it that.
Like, it's a touching scene, but there's just something kind of off-putting about the way this thing looks, I think.
It feels like all the best parts of this movie could be in another different movie. Do you agree?
It's like better than Minya and not better at the same time in some sort of weird way. You know what I mean?
This kid?
Yeah, it's just weird looking.
Yeah, I agree. I think it looks better than Minya. I'd have to say. Oh, and now he's just dead. Ooh, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
That was a pretty good way to handle it. He just drops. And I also really like that his eyes don't shut, his eyes remain open, he just kind of drops. I mean, that they did that in 76 too, though.
I like the look on the Lady Kong's face too, like, oh shit, I'm a single mother.
Again.
Again.
See, I think his face looks better there to me. Maybe it's just because he's not moving. It's a still frame.
When he's fucking dead? Yeah, maybe. Also, not all of it is on frame, so...
Yeah, that's true. That composite's not good, weirdly.
Yeah, the composites in the last scene involving the humans interacting with the apes have not looked that great, honestly.
Yeah, I'd have to say you're right. They look differently lit.
I don't know if they ran out of time to make it look right or what.
I couldn't possibly imagine.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be a time thing or a budget thing. You know, what causes that sort of oddness. Because it's not like that throughout the entire movie. I mean, we've discussed how a lot of the composites in this movie are really fucking good. But every now and then there's one that's just like, ugh.
I love how the hillbillies stuck around, but like, we were down to watch a birth.
Daggone it, now who's going to rebuild my barn?
And then this cut right to this. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, why not?
It wraps the movie up more quickly, which is good for us, because, you know, we're really tired right now.
Look at baby Kong out there in the jungle, being a baby.
Yeah, no, that size just does not work, right?
I'm kind of sad that this movie flopped as hard as it did, because I wouldn't mind a third movie about baby Kong, you know?
Yeah.
Make it a
doing
Kong
something, fighting something, preferably.
A Kong 76 trilogy.
Have him fight like a big lizard or something. I don't know. Never seen King Kong do that before.
You can go to the island of Komodo and fight Komodo dragons.
It'd be nice if he finally fought like a big Komodo dragon or something. This smiling is actually like, that's not too bad, right?
No.
That was an actual rope. That was an actual rope. And then it cut to the wide shot with the vine.
He looks high out of his mind, but she looked pretty good.
He totally is.
That's Borneo, right? They took him back to Borneo?
Yep. And that's it.
The movie is over.
That is King Kong Lives. Woo! Finally, we did it, D. Congratulations. How do you feel?
I feel accomplished.
I feel tired. Boring fucking movie. just has no idea what it wants to be at a certain point, loses every thread with the characters, just total mess. Good shit in it, though, as we've discussed.
Okay, there were 2 people listed in the credits as boyfriend and girlfriend, which I'm pretty sure is who those people were earlier, and that was not Bill Paxton, but my God, did it look kind of like him.
I'm sorry that I missed him now. Well, all right then, D. What'd you think this time?
I mean, the same thing I said at the top. I mean, I think there are some really good ideas in here. Maybe not executed very well, but certainly pretty well conceived.
All right, well, I'd have to say that this is worse than Ghostbusters 2. I hope that nobody thinks I'm out of line there. I know I could sometimes create some controversy with that. And, but otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it. We're not going to probably sit through the credits of this one. I hope that you guys don't mind.
No, I've already exited VLC Media Player.
Okay, great. Well, all right then. So that is going to do it for day 6 of
5.
You're right. I thought about that as soon as I said it. Day 5 the week of the week of Kong. Well, tomorrow we're going into day 6. The second to last day, we're going to be doing the animated King Kong films. Only going to get to do 2 because we couldn't get access to the first one, the Mighty Kong. We'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But we are going to get to access the 2 films based on the 90s Kong animated series, Kong, King of Atlantis, and Kong, Return to the Jungle, which Dylan has never, ever seen.
Indeed, this will be the first time on this week of Kong that we'll be watching something I've never seen before. I don't know whether to be excited or fearful.
I've seen King of Atlantis a bunch of times. I've only seen Return to the Jungle once, so it'll be a pretty fresh experience one of the times for me, too. So get excited, kids. That'll be like the Toho Kongs. We're going to put them up on the same day, so those will both be tomorrow. And then, of course, after that, it's the finale.
Yes, day 7, join us for the Peter Jackson King Kong. And then the day after that...
The official movie of the movie.
Indeed. And then the day after that, you can go out to your cinemas and enjoy the latest addition to the Kong franchise and the legendary MonsterVerse, Kong Skull Island.
Not with our commentary, though, because we'll be watching the movie for the first time ourselves.
Indeed. You will not get a commentary for that until, whenever the movie comes out on home release.
Indeed.
Which, probably late summer, I would imagine.
I guess. I can't even imagine. Whenever Batman v Superman came out. So yeah, July or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, all right then. Well, we hope you enjoyed. This as always. We certainly didn't enjoy the movie. I didn't anyway.
I enjoyed parts of it.
I mean, yeah, me too, but overall, no.
It's just the middle, man. The middle is a slog.
It's a lot. The middle is most of it, though.
Exactly. It's really good at the beginning, and it gets good at the end again. But getting there, man, getting there.
Ugh. All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow, kids. And I'm Bill Worster, a.k.a. Zazubaar.
And I'm Super DM64.
And it doesn't feel like we're so much millionaires tonight as like we owe people millions of dollars. We can't share it with all of you kids.